I'm Robert Lefevre, I'm the director of the Promis Recovery Centre. What we're hoping to do with these short clips is to help people to understand the nature of addiction and what can be done about it. Relationships after Promis, they are tricky because of all the things that I've said about communicating between addicts and compulsive helpers, the difficulties on each side. Relationships in early recovery really are difficult because as an addict, I sing the same song as any other addict. I want what I want, when I want it, and I want it now. See, that is the self-centeredness of addiction. Very difficult for anybody to live with. And the compulsive helper will say, anything you want, let me help you. It doesn't matter what it costs me. If it costs me an arm and a leg, never mind, I've got an arm and a leg on the other side. And we will do that. And that's a very sick relationship. And in recovery, it's equally difficult for both sides to change. It's difficult for the compulsive helpers, it's difficult for the addicts. Now, if you've got two addicts together, it's very difficult to tolerate each other's belligerence. If you've got two compulsive helpers together, I've never known that. I've never known two compulsive helpers stay together for more than 5 minutes. We get compulsive helpers coming here asking to be on the staff. I say, fine, go and work with Meg. No, I want to work with the addicts. I don't want you to work with the addicts. You'd be a menace. You'd look after them instead of confronting them. Now, by confronting, I don't mean being rude, being arrogant, being angry. I just mean being able to say something, sometimes forcefully, but the compulsive helper finds it very difficult. So we need the compulsive helper to be with Meg, working alongside other compulsive helpers. And that's a very difficult thing to do. Very difficult. But the primary addicts have to be helped by primary addicts. On one basic principle, you cannot bullshit a bullshitter. It cannot be done. Okay, you can try, but I told that one myself. It was number 23. I know that one. Pull the other one, it's got bells on. You won't run rings around another addict because we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So all the counselling staff on the primary side are all either former patients of Promis or former patients of somewhere else. We're all addicts in recovery. We've all been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Now that means some very important things. Not only that we can't be bullshitted, but secondly, that we're not going to humiliate people. I don't humiliate people for doing what I did. Secondly, we're not going to do stupid things like trying to educate them and patronize them. We absolutely don't need that. If you look at the non-12-step treatments for addiction, it's all based upon humiliation and patronizing and so on. In a 12-step program, you respect people because they got an illness. We do not have clients at Promis. We have patients. I do not have clients. I have people who are ill. We're trying to help them with that illness. They are patients, not clients. They're not service users. None of that rubbish. They're patients because they're not well. And those of us who are addicts ourselves on the staff recognize that. And it gives us a good chance of being able to help them because we're not going to humiliate them, we're not going to try to educate them or patronize them. We're going to tell them how it was. These are the things that I used to do, but I don't do them now. And if you're curious about how I could change from there to here, I'll be glad to tell you. So that's the way we work, in group, alongside each other, supporting each other, challenging each other, yes, of course, but primarily supporting, understanding each other. And that way, hopefully, whatever happens in our relationships after Promis will be based upon what we've learned in here. We've learned how to be responsible for our reactions. Now that's incredibly important. You cannot make me angry. It cannot be done. You can challenge my belief system, and do something which is contrary to my belief system, in which case I'm angry because of my belief system. Now that's fair enough. If I then go and fuel it and make it into a long-term resentment, that's my own problem. But you in the first case cannot make me angry. I can only be angry on my own behaviour, on my own system of values. I learn how to react appropriately with understanding, rather than shooting from the hip as I used to. And that means that relationships get a lot happier. Living with other addicts in early recovery is something we find is very helpful initially. Promis has the halfway house in Kendrick Mews in South Kensington, right in the middle of the city, right where all the drugs are, all the pubs are, all the betting shops are, all the whatever, right in the middle there, so that we learn how to cope with the real world rather than sending us off to Timbuktu. Let's go to South Africa, let's go to Iceland, let's go to... you can get just the same stuff and just the same amount of trouble in Iceland or South Africa or wherever. We need to face up to the real world. And after we've dealt with the primary problems in treatment in Kent, putting patients alongside each other in Kendrick Mews is very important because it provides them the mutual support. They don't have to do it on their own, they do it together. They work together to move forward with some really difficult practical challenges. If they do that, then they've got a good chance of getting well long term. The recovery rate at the Halfway House Extended Care Facility in London is over 90%. So the great healer is time. Time is the great healer. The longer we can spend in the company of other addicts, mutually supporting each other, the better. The difficulty is money. It costs money. And that's why we don't keep people here for as long as we can. We shunt them off into Kendrick Mews as soon as they've completed the primary treatment, so that it costs only 1/3. You can have 3 weeks in London for the price of 1 week here. And so that must be sensible, because it gives people a better chance of long-term recovery. Now that's in my interest as much as in anybody else. Our major referral source is other patients, previous patients. So if we can get people well, that's good for me as well as for them. And so that's what we recommend. Staying in contact with each other, working together. Don't try and do it on your own. Work with each other and move forward to a life that will be happy, joyous, and free. Thank you.